Monster director Patty Jenkins has confirmed she will return to a galaxy far, far away. That's right, the director opened up about returning to the slate of Disney Lucasfilm with Rogue Squadron. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute, going for a ride down the side. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Airy. Welcome to my vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe right here on YouTube or right here on Rumble, wherever you are. You're welcome. All right, so let's get down to it. We're going to dive right into the topic, as some pundits say. It is true. Apparently, director Patty Jenkins, who of course tackled Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984 for the DCEU at the time when it was ran by Zack Snyder and later by Walter Hamada, she is coming back to Star Wars. For those of you who don't remember, Patty Jenkins did this whole really cool presentation where she talked about her father being a fighter pilot and how she wanted to do a movie to honor him. And so she was going to direct Rogue Squadron for Star Wars. And of course, Wonder Woman 1984 didn't pan out so well, including with me. So they put her Rogue Squadron film on the shelf. However, with Star Wars, losing all goodwill with the fans, including yours truly, they are doing everything they can to get us back. Like, for instance, doing the Mandalorian and Grogu film, announcing that one, as well as now trying to get us back with this Rogue Squadron movie. Because you may not remember, but when this movie was announced, they did the big presentation of Patty Jenkins putting on the X-Wing fighter suit and the helmet and walking toward the X-Wing. That got us pretty excited. Wonder Woman 1984 hadn't come out yet, but I'll talk more about that after I read through this. So this is from Bounding into Comics. Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins confirms return to Star Wars, says she's back on doing Rogue Squadron. And providing further proof to the theory that Disney's cinematic production efforts are in complete shambles across the board, Wonder Woman duology director Patty Jenkins has revealed that her previously canceled Star Wars Rogue Squadron film is officially back in development. Jenkins, who previously grounded her aerial space adventure in favor of working on a third Wonder Woman film, which never panned out, confirmed her return to Disney's Galaxy Far, Far Away while making a guest appearance on the 9th episode of Max's Talking Pictures podcast. Eventually broaching the topic of her future career plans, Jenkins was asked by host Ben Mankiewicz, I hope I pronounced that right. Please let me know if I did not in the comments. Do you see yourself making these, grown-up serious movies like Monster, referring to the movie she made about serial killer Eileen Wuornos? Or, and I don't know where you are on the Star Wars thing either, that's hard to follow too, do you have a franchise in your future? The director affirmed, I don't know the answer to that question. I am always, like I say, I'm always sort of outside of myself, watching myself at the same time, like where I'm like, wow, I guess you're going to do this, she explained. I never thought I would find a home in tentpole films. Like, that's not a thing I thought I would do. However, despite her feigned ignorance to her future projects, Jenkins then recalled, when I left Star Wars Wonder Woman 3 and I went and I started working on that, we talked about, okay, maybe I'll come back to Star Wars after Wonder Woman 3. It was then that Jenkins revealed that thanks to her schedule freeing up, courtesy of James Gunn and Peter Safran canning Wonder Woman 3, she now finds herself back in the pilot seat for Rogue Squadron. So we did a deal for that to happen. We started a deal, but I thought I was doing Wonder Woman 3, she recalled. So when Wonder Woman 3 went away, Lucasfilm and I were like, oh, well, we've got to finish this deal. We finished the deal right as the strike was beginning, so now I owe a draft to Star Wars, so we will see what happens there. They have a hard job in front of them of what's the first movie they're going to do, Jenkins added. They have other directors who have been working, but I'm back on doing Rogue Squadron. All right. So it seems that she is officially back on the slate. At least that is what she's revealing here. Now, we thought Wonder Woman 3 was going to happen for a while, but James Gunn and Peter Safran hate the fans. So Gal Gadot, who many, including myself, loved, that was one of the few things we liked about the Snyderverse. The real DC fans was the casting. We just didn't like Zack Snyder's micromanagement and his, terrible filmmaking abilities. But, I wonder what it's going to be like on the peripheral, because people want to remember Patty Jenkins for Wonder Woman 1984. However, she should be remembered for Monster and Wonder Woman. So she's done two good films, and I don't think it's fair to put one bad film all on her. So, for one thing, they want to give Zack Snyder all of the credit, none of the blame for Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 1984, respectively. So, for instance, people are like, oh, Zack Snyder was the secret genius behind Wonder Woman. He has a vague story credit and he's a producer on it. Meanwhile, Patty Jenkins was the director. With Wonder Woman 1984, maybe they did, maybe Walter Hamada did loosen the purse strings just a little bit for her on that one. However, let's not forget, Zack Snyder produced that one. So you want to blame her for all that went wrong with it, but you don't want to blame him when he's on it. It makes no sense to me. Like I always say, Zack Snyder is a hack. He's a terrible director. And everything he touches, gets ruined. Wonder Woman was an exception because I believe Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, and Patty Jenkins really came together for that. And the actual writer of the script, he did a good job with that script. I think with Wonder Woman 1984, it was one of those cases where Warner Brothers, just didn't understand what made the first one so popular. So I think that's how that goes. That's just my own opinion. You're welcome to disagree with me. I don't care. But I am curious how this is going to pan out because, like I said, I actually think Patty Jenkins is a good director. She did a bad film. I didn't like 1984, so uh, that's neither here nor there. But what I'm curious about is how Kathleen Kennedy is going to handle this. Now, unless the rumors, because I know that some YouTubers are saying she's not really in charge anymore, men in suits are in charge, really. Oh, what's his name, is in charge, the guy with the cowboy hat. He's really the one in charge now. Okay, he's still her lackey. So even if he is the chief creative officer or whatever his title is, even if that's the case, still it's still Kathleen Kennedy's chair right now. She's still in charge. So Kathleen Kennedy tends to not like women who are better than her or women that she can't control, hence why Phoebe Waller-Bridge is involved in all her projects. Kathleen Kennedy can control her. Same with, Daisy Ridley. As talented as Daisy Ridley is, she got terrible writing, and that's on Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy really wanted to push Ray to something better. Now, so when it comes to this, I'm curious if it's going to be another situation like with Wonder Woman 1984, where DC Studios is really pushing, hey, we're trying to get away from the, correctly from the darkness of, the Snyderverse. We want you to make it more colorful, more bright, more vibrant. That's why we're putting it in the 80s. And with I think with Rogue Squadron, it might end up being a situation where, yeah, hey, we're bringing you on because we want to bring back hope and optimism to Star Wars. We want to, explore that sort of dark side of the galaxy, but we also want, to promote heroism and heroes and whatnot. And however that pans out, I still think it's going to be weird to see Kennedy's reaction because she's either going to try to get her claws in Patty Jenkins, and just like she did with the guy who did Book of Boba Fett, or the people who did Obi-Wan, or if they're actually going to let Patty Jenkins run this, that they're just going to make sure it's within canon, which I know it's the Disney Star Wars canon, so it'll be different. But I am hoping that this movie turns out to be good because I remember reading the Rogue Squadron books when they came out. Those were really fantastic novels. I had a great time reading them. I loved reading about the pilots, what they were up to, and even in the new Jedi Order era of the books with the Dozen and Two Squadron, which was kind of like a later a later Rogue Squadron that was run by a Jedi who left the Jedi Order because he thought that it was too restrictive, that Luke Skywalker was making it too restrictive and they couldn't do enough. So he wanted to turn the Jedi, or his break off of the Jedi, into more like vigilantes and whatnot. Now, spoiler alert, in those books, the Dozen and Two get wiped out. But anyway, I really hope that it all comes together because I do want Star Wars to succeed. I don't think it will with Disney. There are rumors that Apple is trying to buy Star Wars. I don't think they would be much better. Tim Cook is, doesn't impress me. I mean, we all saw his acting on that dumb commercial they did where Octavia Spencer played Mother Earth. That was stupid. And also not reflective of the Apple board. One of my favorite comedians, Lou Perez, he did a parody where he cut himself into that. So every time Mother Earth would ask a question, him and the actress who was with him, they would talk about the Apple, slave labor that they have in China and in other places in Asia. And and Tim, they would always put in really funny Tim Cook reaction to that. So I don't think Apple would do Star Wars justice. However it turns out, whichever way the wind blows, whether it's good or it's bad, we're going to wait. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of leaks and rumors and even some false stories coming out, like what's happening with the Mandalorian film. So I look forward to seeing what's going on. Like I said, I have faith in Patty Jenkins, but I don't have faith in Kathleen Kennedy. Who, however this turns out, we're going to be in for a wild ride. 'Cause I've been living life right like I